For the longest time, I've been trying to create my dream life, right? And the biggest thing that you need to understand as you are going about doing this is you're not necessarily creating what you think you are, all right? And you don't necessarily want what you think you do. There comes a point in everyone's life where you feel like you could be more, right? Like you could be not only doing more, but you feel like you could just be more, right? Having this sense of purpose, power, whatever you want to call it, right? But most people never achieve it. And the reason why is simple. It's because you're too focused on your external world, trying to create it from the external world, instead of realizing that the thing that you really want is to become a new person. You're craving something internal. I'm going to tell you how to do it. This will be the only video you ever need to watch on creating your dream life. Yes, you probably will need to go to other people to learn like if your goal is to make a lot of money or make more money, yes, there's skills you need to learn 100%. But this is also one of them. So what you have to understand is everything in existence has already been created. All right, everything, including you, including this version of you that God is calling on you to be, which is why you have these thoughts. And you're mistaking the fact that your job is to make it happen in the external world, but your only job is to become the person first. All right. For me, I've been meditating for years, right? Every single day. There comes a point where you feel this different energy. If you can get into the right state, for me, every time I meditate, I get into this state. Let's just call it stillness, all right? Where your mind is empty. Scratch that. It's not that your mind's empty, but you are empty, meaning you can finally see. And throughout our entire lives, we have programming that was built into us, programming of sin, which is just, fear, essentially, worry, greed, all the negative things that you feel on a daily basis. This all comes from programming, all right? But you did not decide this consciously. And whenever you're trying to achieve something, if you're doing all the work necessary, right? Like for me, I was showing up every day, working in sales, 10 to 12 hours a day, reviewing my calls, learning NLP, doing everything on paper that I should have been doing. Yet, not only was I not making the money I wanted to yet, I also felt extremely unfulfilled while doing it. And the reason why was because I was living based on what other people has told me it's important to be, essentially, right? I built my whole identity off of this, trying to avoid pain, to be accepted by other people. And all this did was dull my authenticity and take me away from my higher self, which, if you don't know, your higher self, just to give it meaning, it's not some like egotistical fucking spiritual thing, right? It's really becoming the version of you that you secretly want to be, who God is calling you to be, without all of the mental programming that was placed on you. All right, that's all I mean. Now, that is your job, to become this person. So how do you do it? Number one, it comes from stillness, all right? We live in a world now where there's so much going on. Social media, big cities, 5G towers, processed foods. All of this hurts your vessel and disconnects you from source. And when you're disconnected from source and you become in this type of state, you fall victim to your programming, right? You start to identify with it because it's just so natural for you, right? It becomes a part of your day-to-day. You just live in this state. But the goal is to realize you can move out of this state at will, all right? And you can start moving in alignment with your higher self. And once you get to stillness, there's a few things you either have to do. there's a few things that you're gonna have to do if you want to achieve this, but I'll make it real simple, okay? Like, yes, there's the vision, there's all this stuff. What you want to do is start feeling as if you were already the person. Many of you have probably heard that before, right? When I first started hearing about this, it was almost like knowledge was knocking on a door in my mind, but it's like I couldn't open the door. I just couldn't figure out what people meant by that. And it was really confusing. I thought it was woo-woo. I thought it was bullshit. But through the journey, you discover it yourself, right? So it's going to be hard for me to articulate what exactly I mean until you have a frame of reference to experience it from. I can give you my frame of reference. Hopefully that does enough to where you can get a sense of this. But nonetheless, you have to walk the path yourself. Now, for me, feeling as if I was this person. First, I would get visions just here and there about like the kind of life that I wanted to live that was almost felt like it was meant for me, right? But it was only ever glimpses. And sometimes, for me, this is the feeling, I would feel this sense of extreme confidence. Like, not in an egotistical way by any means, but almost just like, it's gonna sound egotistical to the people who have no frame of reference for what I'm talking about, but it's like this sense of just certainty in yourself, this self-belief. And it almost feels like you draw in energy all around you. Like on my walks, this is what I do as part of my just routine meditation. I almost feel as if I'm sucking in energy into my being, and then I'm walking with it. I'm able to hold it. And with that, I feel a sense of, if you want to call it power, yes, that's going to sound egotistical, but really it's like, it's just presence and stillness, right? But when I started doing this, or when I started feeling this, as I said, it was only in glimpses. So in my meditations, I started using my imagination. It's called active imagination. Seeing myself as being this person in situations in the external world. But the real key was feeling as if I was already the person, my higher self, in these situations, right? Because we are our default state, basically. The default state that you operate in on a daily basis, how you emotionally feel, like that is what is creating your reality. And you need to train yourself to become this version of you, which is done through meditation and what I'm telling you right now. But the more and more you can start to make this your default setting, right, the more things start happening for you. Like, as I said, for me, it's confidence, it's certainty, but it's also a sense of extreme presence, like almost like I'm just a blank slate, and that at any moment I can decide to do something, and I do it. And this is called achieving flow. It's not, flow state isn't necessarily what everyone tells you it is, right? Like, it's partially that, but they kind of dull it, in my opinion. But flow state is basically where you are uninterrupted by your old programming and you're able to consistently live as your higher self. Now, for me, guys, the moment I did this, I not only got rid of the mental programming that was holding me back for years, right? I had a lot of fears, limitations. You can just, I guess it can be summed up as a poor mindset, right? But it's so generic. I hate using the word mindset. But when you start to just become this person and it's your default mode, things will start to happen for you, all right? Everyone talks about manifestation, all right? But the key they miss is they try to manifest these external things, but really what you should be doing is trying to manifest this version of you into reality, which you can only do it by rehearsing in your mind and associating yourself with this version of you. All right. Now you're probably going to experience imposter syndrome. All right. This is what happened to me, but this isn't a sign that you're not this person. Okay. So please don't take it that way. I fell into that and it kept me stuck for another year longer than what I would have liked. Embarrassing to admit, but it's okay. Now, what this is basically, your old you have attachments in the external world that keep you attached to your old sense of self, your old identity, let's call it. Whether it's, you're still living in your hometown, you have the same friends who are secretly like just draining your energy, and just things that hold you back, that remind you of who you were before you went on this journey to change. And oftentimes that can pull you back because you'll almost feel like they're looking at you like, why is he acting this way? This isn't him. But the truth is, you didn't even know yourself. And if you didn't even know yourself at this time, they're basing a version of you off of who you used to be, which you didn't even know who you used to be. You had no idea. You were just being, right? You were this type of person with all the programming that held you back, right? And that's who they base it off of. That's all imposter syndrome is. It's basically when you start to shift, it's basically a disassociation from the old self into the new self, which is why it feels like imposter syndrome, but really it's a sign that you're growing. But when it comes to achieving things in life, six-pack, more money, more fulfillment, even receiving your purpose, maybe that can be another conversation. But when you start operating as your higher self, you start receiving downloads, okay? Don't get all woo-woo. I hope I don't lose you here, okay? But it's the truth. When you operate in a different state, you therefore, I don't like using this language because it's like new age stuff, but you raise your vibration, you raise your frequency, and now you can tap into you just start downloading thoughts, all right, and feelings. And part of this comes when you are able to train stillness into your life. And you start getting these ideas that you've never had before, but have always been there in a weird way. And you start to make sense of it. And that's when things will start happening. You almost don't even have to worry about the how, because you're just so focused on being this new version of you. And when you're being this new version of you, that's when you are proving to God that you are ready for more. So he will expand you. All right. This energy as well, like how I feel it in my higher self, it's like, it feels like expansive energy, right? Like warm, open. And you start to expand because you've trained your vessel enough to be able to expand. And once you do that, things will start happening. For me, I was literally working 10 to 12 hour days in sales, right? Not making anything. I started doing this work. I got another sales job. I quadrupled my income in way less time. And the only thing that changed wasn't anything with my sales, right? No change to my process. Like, yeah, I changed the offer, but the lead flow was also a lot slower, by the way. But my close rate increased a lot, 60 to 80% consistently. I don't objection handle. I don't even do the typical sales process. It's really just my sense of being, and people feel that. People feel that on calls. And because of my level of certainty, not just in my offer, but of certainty in myself, they feel that, and it gets transferred over to them, and they buy, right? Using this for money. Not using it for money, that's the wrong word, but that's how it'll happen in your life. All right, at least that's how it did for me. You might be on your self-development path, trying to become a new version of yourself, but feel stuck. And I promise you, the only thing that you have to focus on is just getting familiar with the feeling of being this person, not viewing it like it's outside of you right now. You don't want to be in your mind viewing yourself from a third person perspective. You want it through a first person perspective. All right. But the more and more you can start to feel this, things will start to happen, right? Like when I first moved out, could not find a place for shit. Literally couldn't find a spot. All of a sudden, stillness, right? I just kept my daily practice. I asked God, will you deliver me the right place to live? Literally the next day, appears on my lap, just right away. And it's because I was ready to receive it. The biggest thing I want you to take away from this is, number one, your only goal is to become your higher self. All right. You don't want all the external things you think you do. And when you can realize that, that's typically when it comes into your life. All right. But also, the only thing holding you back is thoughts and programs running in your mind that didn't even consciously come from you. All right. It came from your upbringing, your environment, your parents, old friends, how people view you, who were all operating in a state of complete unawareness. And you've built yourself off of that. You've created a sense of identity off of that, but you never realized that you didn't mean to create it. It just sort of happened because you were a product of your environment. And what I'm here to tell you is you are not. And the moment you can realize that, you realize you can choose who you want to be in any moment. And then you just start becoming this person. And through just time in the game, it becomes who you are. You'll look up one day, wow, I've changed. I've built not only my life, but I've built myself into who I wanted to be. And it's a never-ending process, but you'll think back years ago to the thoughts you had then about your limits, where you wanted to be. You'll be like, wow, I completely blew past that. What else is possible? And then you start thinking bigger. And it's because you've slowly raised your frequency. And the biggest thing as well, for those who feel unfulfilled, because that was the point where I was at as well at the end of sales, even though I was making money, right? I started feeling extremely unfulfilled because I was moving in alignment with my higher self, or so I thought. But then I started getting downloads from God again about my purpose. And I felt this internal energy that was just pent up that I needed to let go of. And I needed an outlet for, more so. And that's why I make these videos now. That's why I post online, because I think this is the greatest transformation any human can make. You will make more money. You will build the body you want. You'll stop being stopped. You won't be stopped by your own mental limitations that you placed on yourself. I fully believe that if you can make this internal change, you can achieve anything that you want in life. I really just want to help people because I suffered my entire life, unknowingly. I was good at one thing, soccer. Everything else didn't really come so easy for me. I came from a family of every man in my family was addicted to something: alcohol, drugs. I myself was addicted to weed, nicotine. I didn't have the best upbringing, to tell you the truth. Maybe I'll touch on that more another time. I'll probably just save it for clients. But if I made this change, you can too. All right. So if you want more help on how to actually do this for yourself, just DM me on Instagram. I'll put my account in the description. Yes, I do coaching, but I also love a good conversation. I love answering questions, and honestly, it'll probably give me some more content ideas, so I would appreciate it. But yeah, no matter where you're at in life, whether you already have money, you're unfulfilled, or you're broke trying to become rich, or you're just trying to, become the person you want to be, essentially, right? But something's holding you back, just DM me. We can talk coaching, or we can just talk in general. All right. But that's all for now. See you guys next time.